Happy Cinco de Mayo. We're just so excited that all of you have that you're joining us this evening. And we are looking forward to having a great tasting session with Laurie. And I think the thing that the whole team is really excited about at this point is seeing all of you again in person. And so this is our segue, or the way that we thought we would like to start it off, just by saying hello. We're thinking about everyone. We can't wait to get back together with everyone and just connect. Without further ado, I do want to tell you a little bit about Laurie Forster, who is what I call our personal sommelier at Vintage901. And Laurie is a friend. I want to just tell a personal story. I could tell all these wonderful things about her, that she went to Ivy League college, that she's a wife, she's a mother, she's all of these different things. But my story has to do with meeting her for the first time in 2016, and knew right at that point that I wanted her to join with us in being able to kick off Vintage 901 in Memphis, Tennessee, and bringing her personal brand of expertise, humor. She's such a sociable person. I wanted to really see her in Memphis, and the whole team agreed with that. And so I met Laurie in Uncasville, Connecticut. And she was doing a wine seminar. And as I said, when I first saw her, like, we got to bring her to Memphis. And I was so glad that she agreed to do it. And she has just been, I think, a special part of our festival every year. We're getting geared up to do several things, not only this year, but next year. And she will be there. And for those of you who do not know her, I want to introduce her to you tonight. For those of you that do already know her, have met her, have gotten the opportunity to talk with her, socialize with her, have a glass of wine, you already know what a special person she is. So all I've got to say is, this is Laurie Forster, the wine coach. Take it away. Give us, we're ready for whatever you got for us, Laurie.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. And thank you for introducing me as the sommelier, because I did one of these virtual tastings last week and I was introduced as the salmonella, which you may or may not know is a foodborne disease. So no, it's sommelier. You said it perfectly. And Stephanie, I feel the exact same way about you and all my other Memphis family that I have missed seeing over the last couple of years because of, silly COVID. So we have so many great things planned for you coming up, and we're going to start out virtual, but these things are going to just roll into live events. And I'm really excited to tell you about some of those here in a second. I see you guys are using the chat window. That's going to be the main way you guys are communicating with me. So make sure you have that chat window up. Also at the bottom, you'll notice there's some other icons that you can use. There's a Q&A button. So when I get into the wine presentation, if you have any questions about the wine or wine tips or anything, regarding this tasting, go ahead and enter that in the Q&A, because it's easier for me to keep track of the questions. We'll try to monitor the chat too. Hey there, I think it's Carla. I might need to put my readers on because that chat window is in very small print. But welcome to Cinco del Vino. We know it's Cinco de Mayo, but we decided to do Cinco de Vino because we're all wine lovers here. And yes, margaritas are great, but wine is even better. And I'm so excited to introduce you to our featured wine tonight. And I'm so glad you're here. So thank you. And you're going to get first dibs on all these events I'm going to let you know about tonight. So cheers to Cinco de Vino. Get yourself a little pour in there because we're going to talk about our featured wine here. But what is coming up. This is so exciting. On the 11th of June at the James Lee House, which is a historic home there in Memphis, there's going to be a ticketed wine tasting event. I believe it's going to be limited to the first 50 people. So if you're on the Vintage 901 newsletter, you're going to hear about this right away. But if you're not, go to Vintage 901 website and sign up for the newsletter. I think if you're registered for this, you'll also get notified of the upcoming events. So that's really excited. That will be a ticketed event. And then also exciting is Buster's Wine Store is going to be hosting tastings and our folks from Vintage 901 throughout, I believe it's June, July, and August. And you'll get information about when and where. Those will be free tastings. You'll just have to show up at Buster's. They'll be featuring different wines, and it'll be a great way to interact with all the amazing board members we have for Vintage 901, the volunteers, and just, you know, taste some new wines for free. I mean, who doesn't like to try before you buy? So that's exciting. And then the most exciting, at least to me, leading up to the fall is on October 27th. I'm going to be in Memphis, and we're doing a perfect pairings dinner. And over the last course of Vintage 901 festivals that we've done, many times on the Friday night, we do a perfect pairings dinner. It is a multi-course dinner, seated, where we're having these amazing culinary courses that I'm pairing perfectly with different wines. And throughout each course, the chef is explaining the food, I'm explaining the wines, and we're telling you all about why they go so well together. This is going to be limited to 100 people. The venue is not being announced just yet. We're going to keep a little suspense to that, but just be aware, this is going to be a very luxurious, amazing evening, and I'm going to be there to be your host, your guide, all of those great things for perfect pairings. October 27th, that's this year, 2022. And then mark your calendars now, because April 22nd and 23rd of 2023, we're going to be back together live in Memphis for Vintage 901. Finally back on track the way we should be. And we want all of you been with us before, all of you that are new, to join us for just an amazing weekend of community, wine, and lots of laughter and fun. So thank you so much for showing up. Let me just check the chat real quick. Linda saying happy Cinco de Vino. Sonia, hello everyone. And there we see Katina. Thank you, Katina, for coming. I love it. And don't forget to use the Q&A button if you have any questions as we go along. All right, I gave you those dates. I think they'll be emailing them out to you as well. I'll review them again at the end. But Cinco de Vino is nothing without vino, right? So let's introduce our wine, our featured wine of the night, and it's from a winery called Pasqua. And Pasqua is an Italian winery located in the Veneto region near the city of Verona. And they call this their Romeo and Juliet Rosé Prosecco. And Prosecco is a sparkling wine made in Italy, made in the Veneto region. Sometimes it's white, and you've probably seen that type of Prosecco quite a bit. But more importantly, now they're making many more rosé versions, and that's what we're tasting this evening. And I'm super excited to taste that with you. So hopefully you have it. If you didn't get it before the tasting, no big deal. You can go to Buster's, you can get this. And a couple of things about the label. I know we're not supposed to choose our wine based on that, but they really did go to a lot of trouble to make this beautiful label. And in Verona, there's a balcony and a home that is, you know, I guess in imagination said to be the balcony of Romeo, where Romeo and Juliet profess their love for each other. Now, Shakespeare, this is a made up story, so it's not for real, but people pilgrim and come to this balcony from all over the world. And on the wall in the courtyard there by the balcony, they leave their messages of love for those who they, you know, have fallen for. And this is a picture of some of the artwork on the wall near that balcony in Verona. So I just think that's so beautiful. It's a real thing that you can Google and look up. And this is their Rosé Prosecco vintage. Mine is 2020. So that's what we're going to be tasting. A little tip here, if you ever see these strips on Italian wines, that's telling you that this wine is one of the top quality levels of wines in Italy. They have a system called the DOC, which is the first high quality level, and then DOCG, which is a step above. And Prosecco, this Prosecco is in that DOC level, and you can tell that by that little blue strip there. So if you're going through a store and you're looking at Italian wine, look for the strip. It's super important. All right, so that's our featured wine, and I hope you guys will all get it in your glass. Let me know if you have this wine, or if you don't, what you are drinking in your glass, because super important. The Pasqua brothers founded this winery in 1925. They're now on the third generation of Pasqua family running this winery in Verona, as I said, and they're known for these Romeo and Juliet Proseccos. Both they have a white and a rosé. We're doing the rosé, and the main grape of Prosecco is called Glera. It's really one of the oldest grapes in Italy. And so if you've had a white Prosecco before, you've had Glera, you've had the grape, and oh good, Francis is loving Prosecco. But with this, to make it rosé, you actually need to have a red grape in the mix. So 90% of this wine is the Glera grape that you're used to having with your white Proseccos, and 10% is from Pinot Nero, which is Pinot Noir. So the 10% that's from Pinot Noir is giving it this beautiful rosé color, if you're seeing that. And it's really wonderful. You're getting that 90-10 mix. And this is made by a method that's specific to Italy. Well, developed in Italy, perfected by someone from France, but it's called the Charmat Method. And when you make champagne, the bubbles are actually created in the bottle by aging the wine for long periods of time. But with fresh grapes like Glera, this process of creating the bubbles under pressure in a tank in a larger format works better to keep the fresh fruit of the wine. And so the Charmat method was created in the 1800s in Italy, perfected in 1907 by Eugene Charmat in France, but still many times, you know, people understand that Italians were the ones that created this process. I have a quick little slide I was going to show you guys just to show you what this method looks like. So if you don't mind, I'm going to share my screen. Just I guess I can't. If there's a way to allow me to share screen, Deidre, that's cool. All right, so this is considered, oh, there we go. There we go. So this is the Charmat process that I mentioned. So if you look, you can see all the way to the, and am I sharing this? Can everyone, let me make sure that you guys can see this. Am I sharing? I want to make sure. No, I'm not sharing it. All right, I'll show it if I can share it. If not, we'll email it out to you guys. No worries. All right, so let's go to the wine itself. You know, one of the things we look at, and we're going to start by tasting this wine through the process. We're going to look at it, see that it's a beautiful, beautiful coppery color. And you're also going to look for the bubbles. We really, ideally in sparkling wine, want those bubbles to be tiny. Excuse me. I don't know about Memphis, but we have pollen everywhere here. It's crazy allergy time. But we want those bubbles to be tiny. Now, you may have noticed, let me take a sip, that my glass looks a little different than the traditional flute that you might see for sparkling wines. And that's because the new theory in the world of wines is that this glass is great for keeping your wine bubbly, but not great for getting all of the flavors out of the wine. So notice how this has a broader bowl. This is the Riedel Extreme Champagne glass. Now, some French believe that a white wine glass is the best way to drink champagne or sparkling wine. Even my Aussie Doodle's getting excited about this Prosecco. So you can go any which way you want. The traditional flute is going to keep it super bubbly, but these larger bold glasses are going to give you more smell, which is the second step in tasting. So first we give it a look, then we give it a smell. Lots of red fruit here, and I'll share that slide in a second because I see I can. And things like strawberry, raspberry, really fresh fruit, you're getting that on the nose. Then when you take a sip, what I want you to notice is the Charmat method has less atmospheres of pressure then does the champagne method. And so it's more softly sparkling than a champagne or other kinds of sparkling wine. So it's a little bit softer on the palate. It's got all of that fruit and that crisp acidity that's making your mouth water right now, right? This is going to be great with a lot of different foods. I'm going to tell you about those in a minute, but I'm going to just share that slide real quick so you can see. And here's what I was talking about. Okay, so let me quick go through the process. Round one, you start with ripe, juicy grapes. Duh, you need great grapes to make great wine. Then you're gonna press it, get the juice, and make regular wine out of it. Wine without bubbles, base wine, still wine. That's what we call it. Then we're gonna put it in this tank. If you can see this tank here. And what we're gonna do is add a little sugar and a little yeast. That creates a secondary fermentation. And when you ferment, one of the byproducts is CO2. Sound familiar? That's what creates bubbles. The tank is closed and under pressure, so those bubbles are trapped. Tiny bubbles, you'll see at the bottom. That's what I told you is so important. And then we're gonna then bottle. If you see all the way in round three, we're gonna bottle that right away and add something at the end called dosage. It's a little bit of wine and sugar, and the amount of sugar to which is in that is what we considered. I'm going to try to get back to, yes, the amount of sugar in that dosage, that last step right before the cork is put in, determines whether it's brut. Have you heard that term for champagne? That's the driest typically. And then extra dry just has a little bit more sugar, makes it a little bit more oomph to it. And that's what our Rosé Prosecco is. The Pasqua, Romeo and Juliet, is a extra dry. A lot of Proseccos are extra dry, so you just get a little bit more fruitiness, a little bit more sweetness, but by no means is this sweet like, say, a Moscato. This is, you know, much drier than that, but a little bit sweeter than a brut. Okay, I think I see a question. Laurie, you should be good to share. Okay, thank you. I appreciate you figuring that out. All right, so now that we've tasted, basically we've looked at it, we've checked out those tiny bubbles, which are so there. We've smelled the wine with that beautiful red fresh fruit. We've taken a sip. Those bubbles should just dissolve elegantly, should just disappear without a thought. And you have that mouth-watering acidity. And that's what makes this wine so great with things that you might squeeze a lemon on. So where I live in Maryland, we're all about our seafood. So crab, absolutely. Shrimp, lobster, all kinds of seafood is going to really pair well with this because, you know, because you have that acidity to cleanse your mouth from the richness of the crab, the richness of the shrimp or what have you, but also great with things like charcuterie. So prosciutto or sopressata, some soft cheeses would be really great with this, like a brie or a camembert. And then also really fun with Asian cuisines like spring rolls or egg rolls. And if you're adventurous like me and you like sushi, this would be to die for with sushi. So all of those pairings absolutely can work. And it's so exciting to see more and more Rosé Proseccos on the market. I picked this up on wine.com. You guys can get it at Buster's. It's going to retail, for me, it was around $23.99, so just under $24. So still in a really great price range. Under $25, I get excited. Any questions, guys? Go ahead and put them in the chat window and let me know if there's anything you want to know about this. But I am not going to drink this whole bottle of Rosé Prosecco tonight. I have a pretty full day tomorrow. And so what do? I've already opened this bottle. I've had a couple glasses out of it, say, but I want to enjoy it tomorrow. Or maybe I want to wait and enjoy it on Mother's Day because that's coming up in a few days. So what do? We have something called a champagne saver. And this is a tool that every wine lover should have in their bag of tricks. So I'm going to just place my bottle here so you can see. And basically this has a piece here that goes down in the neck of your bottle and then two wings that go around the lip. So you press it down from the top and then see these two wings just fit around the bottom lip there at the top of the bottle. Now you've actually you're trapping all those beautiful bubblies, all those tiny bubbles that we love and know that they created at Pasqua. I can put this in the fridge. I can take it out tomorrow, the next day, and it's still going to be bubbly. 3-4 days is probably what you're going to get, but you absolutely should have a couple of these around the house, because sometimes you just want 1 or 2 glasses of bubbly, and that champagne saver is just a must have. The other thing, we talked about glasses, and there's so many different glasses, but serving temperature is really important with wine. And I don't know if you've ever noticed, if you get a glass of white wine or sparkling wine and you're kind of just sitting there nursing it, not really maybe drinking it very quickly, as the wine changes temperature, it changes taste as well. So when you're serving it at the ideal temperature, you're getting it as intended. And so the ideal temperature for sparkling wine like Prosecco or champagne is going to be around 40 to 42 degrees, which is very close to your kitchen refrigerator temperature. Whereas with white wine, you're more in the 45 to 55. So it actually needs to warm up when you take it out of the refrigerator. And red wine, we often say room temperature, but really what we mean is room temperature in a medieval castle in France. So I don't know why they say that, 65 to 68 degrees. Kristen, I need a champagne saver. We never finished the bottle. Yes, these are great. You can find them on Amazon, a lot of different places. And just this, the most important is that I really like the model that has this piece that actually goes down into the neck of the bottle. Doesn't just have a flat surface there, and then your wings keep to the bottom lip there.
Hey, Laurie, you have
yes.
a couple of questions.
Great, thank you. Oh, there I see Q&A, perfect. I know, I have to wear readers now, people, it's awful. Would any other stopper do the same? That's a question from Francis. Actually, no, Francis, great question. The normal stoppers for, say, a bottle of white or a bottle of red are going to actually be expelled from the bottle if you try to use them, because the atmospheres of pressure in that bottle are going to just, send it shooting out. So if you try to do that in the fridge, the next morning you're going to get to that bottle and it's not going to have a stopper in it anymore. So it needs to be this champagne saver type stopper that hooks onto the bottom of that lip at the top of the bottle. Really important. Another question from Michael Thompson. How many varieties of Prosecco are there? So Prosecco is a sparkling wine they make in Veneto from the Glera grape. So there's the white basic Prosecco, and then there's the rosé Prosecco, which can use the Pinot Noir in there, which we have here. There are many different wineries. There's different styles, meaning you can get a brut Prosecco, that's the driest. You can get extra dry. You can, get sweeter styles. But those are the basic variations. There's different towns and different places that are known, for better Prosecco than others. But basically your white and your rosé, and then at varying levels of sweetness. Great question, Michael. I love that. Awesome. All right. Does anyone have any other questions? I know we're having a fun Cinco de Vino. I'm loving this. Let me know what you guys are thinking of this rosé Prosecco. Have you had one before? Is this your first time? I know we're gonna, in a minute or so, we're gonna make a little toast, but we wanna make sure we answered all your questions and you guys really got a great picture of this wine. And if you didn't get it, why you wanna go out and get it, because I'm thinking this is now on my spring summer list for anything I have going on. I think this is also a great gift for anyone that you love. The presentation, not that doesn't always work, right? Sometimes it looks great, but then what's in the bottle, not so great. So I think this is the full package. Let me go back and make sure. I think we did the 2 questions we had. All right, guys, should we make a toast? It would be a great Mother's Day gift. Kristen, I totally agree. This is my first time having a Prosecco Rosé. Thank you so much for trying that with us. I hope you're gonna do it again, because you're gonna see more and more of them on. It's really putting together 2 of the hottest trends in wine, and it's been this way for the last few years, and it's sparkling wine and rosé. So I love dry rosé. Still rosé, meaning no bubbles, and I love sparkling wine, and this puts those 2 together. So I'm glad that you actually went there with us. And Teresa, thank you so much for giving us a try. All right. So Deirdre and Stephanie, how about you come back? I have a little toast. And maybe I'll just quick review the events we have coming up. What do you say?
Sounds good.
I'm assuming anybody who registered for this Zoom will be also getting your communications from now on as well. Is that a good assumption?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So if you register for this, you don't need it. Again, go register on the Vintage 901 site. You'll find out. But everybody get ready to raise a glass because I have a great toast here in the Cinco idea and method. But remember, on June 11th at the James Lee House, we're going to have that ticketed event. I think you said, Stephanie, limited to 50 people. So it's going to be a smaller event. So it's going to be first come, first serve whenever those tickets are set to sale. And any idea when that might be?
I would say that those tickets, we'll have those tickets going probably right after Mother's Day.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Then through the months of June, July, and August, we're also going to have those free tastings at Buster's. Be on the lookout for those. We'll be tasting various wines. You'll find out more about the upcoming events, including the Perfect Pairings Wine Dinner, which I can't wait to get back to Memphis now. And we're going to have that evening of delicious culinary courses paired with the perfect wine. Each course will tell a story through the food, through the wine. It's a story told throughout a meal, and it's just a great night to come out, put on your favorite outfit, community, meet people. And that's what I love about wine dinners is that, you may come with someone that you love or already know, but you always end up meeting someone new. And after you've had a couple of the wine pairings, everybody just starts talking about the most important things like their family and their passions and all that great stuff. So I'm excited to share that with you guys in October. And then of course, next April, 22nd and 23rd of 2023, we will resume Vintage 901 with the grand tasting and the sparkling brunch, another one of my favorite events. So that's what we have coming up. I'm pretty excited. What do you guys say?
Woo, woo. Yeah.
Oh, let me take my other glass here. I'll put these together. All right, I didn't have enough in there to toast. So I was thinking Cinco, what could be a great toast? And I found this Latin saying I thought would be perfect. And as well to remember, there are 5 reasons for drinking wine. The arrival of a friend, which thank you friends for coming this evening. The one's present or future thirst, another reason. The excellence of the wine, or for any other reason. 5 reasons to drink wine. I think we've hit on a lot of them this evening. We want to drink wine with you in June at the James Lee, June, July, and August at Buster's. And then of course, I can't wait to be with you in October. We're glad you were here. We could reconnect. We've missed you guys, and just cheers. There's 5 reasons and we want to do them all with you. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Yes. Looking forward to seeing everyone.
Awesome. Thank you guys for coming. We really appreciate your time tonight. Go forth and enjoy the rest of your Prosecco Rosé with some of the pairings I mentioned or not. And cheers, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Awesome.